All right, Steelers fans, let's get into it. We've hit a point in the season where there's no sugarcoating what's happening on the field, especially with the defense. Watching these games unfold has been frustrating, and it's clear that the team needs some serious adjustments. We've all seen it. The missed tackles, the coverage breakdowns, the moments where opponents just move right past defenders like they're not even there. It's one thing to lose a game. It's another to watch a defensive unit struggle in ways that seem almost preventable. And right now, that's exactly where the Steelers find themselves. It's tempting to single out a player or a position, but honestly, the issues run much deeper. This isn't about scapegoating. It's about identifying where change has to start. The secondary has been a glaring problem. Players aren't covering effectively, and when they do attempt to tackle, it often falls short. Numbers don't lie. Quarterbacks are completing far more passes than they should, passer ratings are spiking against the defense, and missed tackles have doubled in some cases. We're not just talking about a dip in form here or there. This is a consistent, structural problem that's affecting the entire unit. Take one of the veteran corners, for instance. His career has been impressive. Pro Bowls, a Super Bowl ring, recognition across the league, but the numbers this season tell a different story. Completion rates against him are drastically higher than his career average, and passer ratings when targeting his side of the field have jumped by almost 30 points. Missed tackles are twice what they've been over his career. This isn't personal. It's the reality of football, the reality of time and performance. Age catches up with everyone, even the greats, and sometimes tough decisions have to be made for the good of the team. Now, what does a change look like? Benchings in football aren't always absolute. They often mean reduced snaps, positional adjustments, or situational rotations. Moving a player inside or saving them for nickel or dime packages can shift the dynamic of the defense without causing chaos. The goal isn't to punish. It's to get results, to start seeing the type of football that reflects what the Steelers are capable of. If the current state of affairs has taught us anything, it's that just urging players to perform better isn't enough. There has to be decisive action. And when we look at the potential replacements, there's reason to be optimistic. Younger players coming into the lineup have shown promise. In limited snaps, they're holding up well under pressure, completing coverage responsibilities with precision and rarely missing tackles. The stats may be from a smaller sample, but the trends are encouraging. Less experienced players are often more reactive, more agile, and willing to challenge themselves every play. It's not about undermining veterans. It's about adapting to what the game demands now. Athleticism, discipline, and quick decision-making are crucial, especially when the defense is struggling. It's also about trust and coaching. Decisions on who starts or who rotates are rarely made in a vacuum. Coaches have the knowledge and perspective to understand matchups, tendencies, and how to maximize talent. It's not just numbers, it's instincts, film study, and preparation that dictate these choices. If a coach identifies that a particular player is better suited for a certain role, it can completely shift the defensive performance. The key is having the courage to make those adjustments, even mid-season, even if it means shaking up long-established roles. Now, stepping back to the head coach, there's a lot of conversation about leadership and defensive specialization. His history with defense is well known, but the game has evolved. Football in 2025 is not what it was even a decade ago. The playbooks are more complex, the opponents more analytical, and the data available to coaching staffs has expanded exponentially. To be effective today, a defensive-minded coach has to integrate these tools while also managing personalities, strategies, and in-game adjustments. Standing on the sideline and relying on intuition isn't enough. Preparation and adaptability are what separate successful teams from those that falter. You see, defensive football isn't just about schemes or XS and OS. It's about execution under pressure. It's about trust between players and coaches, about cohesion and anticipation. It's about understanding tendencies and making split-second decisions that can change the outcome of a drive. The Steelers once had that synergy, where players and coordinators operated almost intuitively together, but recreating that dynamic requires more than just talent. It demands alignment of philosophy, communication, and buy-in from everyone on the defensive side. Right now, that alignment seems to be missing, and it shows on the field. So as we move through this season, the halfway mark is a critical point. There's still time to course correct, but the window for patience is narrowing. Fans, players, and coaches alike have to confront the reality that the current defensive output is unsustainable. Change has to start somewhere, and the secondary is an obvious place. From there, it can ripple outward, influencing linebackers, the pass rush, and ultimately the overall defensive performance. Accountability, strategic rotation, and a willingness to try new approaches are all part of building a functional, competitive defense again. Every play matters, every decision matters, and the difference between a loss and a win can come down to one missed tackle, one blown coverage, one hesitation. The Steelers have a rich history, a standard of excellence, and a fan base that expects competitiveness week in and week out. Achieving that means making decisions based on facts, stats, and observation, not just tradition or loyalty. And while the criticism can be tough, the goal is always improvement, pushing this team toward the kind of football that reflects the pride of the Steelers' name. The reality is harsh, but football is a results-driven sport. And right now, the defense is sending a clear message. Adjustments are overdue, and standing still isn't an option. Leadership, talent management, and tactical execution must come together to turn things around. The younger players are ready to step up, the coaches have the tools to implement change, and the games still left on the schedule provide opportunities to make an impact. But the first step is acknowledgement, understanding exactly what's not working, and taking decisive action to correct it. When you start talking about change, it always leads back to one person in the building, the head coach. Because no matter how much we analyze stats, matchups, or player performance, the tone of the entire team reflects the mindset of its leader. And for the Steelers, that conversation always circles back to Mike Tomlin. He's a figure who commands respect and has earned it over the years, but lately, the noise around his leadership has been getting louder. Fans are frustrated, players look uncertain, and the defense, his supposed specialty, isn't living up to expectations. That naturally raises the question, what exactly is he bringing to the table right now? It's easy to look at the scoreboard and say the blame falls on him. But football, especially at this level, is complex. The job of a head coach isn't just calling plays. It's building a structure where everything functions: culture, discipline, preparation, and accountability. It's about having a pulse on every corner of the team. When that balance slips, even slightly, you start to see cracks appear on the field. Missed assignments, poor tackling angles, bad reads, all symptoms of a larger issue in preparation and communication. The Steelers used to be a team that thrived on discipline and defensive precision, but those traits seem to have faded. Now, when people say the game might have passed him by, it's not about his football knowledge. It's about adaptation. The league has changed dramatically in the last decade. Offensive systems are faster, more creative, and powered by analytics that expose weaknesses in real time. Defensive coordinators and head coaches have to respond with flexibility and innovation, not just tradition. The Steelers' schemes right now feel predictable. The adjustments come too late, often after halftime, and by then, the damage is done. You can't just rely on the old formula anymore. You have to evolve. Look around the league, and you'll see examples of defensive coaches who have successfully adapted. They've handed off certain responsibilities, like clock management, replay decisions, and situational strategy, to specialized staff so they can focus on the bigger picture. That's modern football. It's a game of details, of split-second decisions, and the teams that handle those moments best are the ones winning consistently. Tomlin is still hands-on, still pacing that sideline, still watching the replays himself, but maybe it's time to let go of some of that control and modernize the structure. The most concerning part, though, is the lack of in-game flexibility. How many times have we watched the same coverage get beaten repeatedly before any change comes? How often have offenses exposed mismatches and the Steelers failed to adjust until it's too late? That's not a talent problem. That's a leadership issue. Great coaches don't just prepare for one scenario. They prepare for 5. They have contingency plans, backup schemes, ways to disguise weaknesses. When the Steelers were dominant defensively, they thrived on unpredictability. Opponents never knew where the pressure would come from or how the coverage would shift. That's missing now, and it's costing the team dearly. But to be fair, coaching in today's NFL is tougher than ever. The amount of film, analytics, and game data available can overwhelm even the most experienced staff. Balancing that information with human instinct is an art form. Sometimes you can get lost in the numbers and forget that football is also about emotion and chemistry. The great defenses of the past weren't just built on schemes. They were built on trust. Players trusted the system, the coordinator, and each other. They played with belief. That's what made those units so lethal. Right now, that sense of unity feels fractured. Players look hesitant, unsure of their roles, and when that happens, mistakes pile up. Football is unforgiving. It exposes every weakness and rewards every adjustment. The second half of the season will show whether this coaching staff can still adapt, still motivate, still lead. Because the fans have seen greatness before, they've seen defenses that struck fear into opponents, and they're not going to settle for mediocrity. The Steelers don't rebuild, they reload. But to reload effectively, you have to know when to change the magazine, when to swap out what's not working, and when to trust the next man up. The time for waiting has passed. Now it's about proving that this team still knows how to fight back, still knows how to defend its legacy, and still knows how to play true Steelers football. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors are swirling through the Steel City, and if they prove true, the Pittsburgh Steelers may have just pulled off one of the most underrated moves of the season. Multiple sources close to the team suggest that the Steelers are finalizing a deal to bring in offensive guard TEVIN Jenkins, a player known for his sheer physicality, nasty streak, and relentless drive to dominate the trenches. Jenkins, who has built a reputation as one of the league's most aggressive and technically sound linemen, could be exactly what Pittsburgh needs to protect their young quarterback and reignite their once-feared ground game. While no official announcement has been made, insiders claim that the front office has been targeting Jenkins for weeks, admiring his combination of power, versatility, and leadership. Those close to the locker room whisper that the move has already electrified players and coaches alike. The Steelers' offensive line, long considered a weak spot since the days of Marquise Pouncey and David DeCastro, might finally be returning to its steel curtain mentality. Jenkins' arrival could instantly solidify the right side of the line, providing a new level of confidence for both the quarterback and the running backs. TEVIN Jenkins, originally drafted by the Chicago Bears, has been praised for his mean streak on the field, the kind that makes defensive linemen think twice before charging through the gap. His blend of athleticism and aggression fits perfectly with head coach Mike Tomlin's philosophy: toughness, discipline, and grit. Fans have already taken to social media, buzzing with excitement and cautious optimism. If Jenkins really joins, our QB might finally have time to breathe, one fan posted, echoing the sentiment across Steelers Nation. Others see this as a statement move, proof that the franchise is serious about building from the inside out. While it remains to be seen whether this deal becomes official, one thing is certain: the noise around Pittsburgh is growing louder. If the rumors are true, the Steelers may have just found their new cornerstone, a living, breathing wall named TEVIN Jenkins, ready to turn every Sunday into a battle of iron and will. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.